"Miss Reed, you may enter. Mr. Montgomery is ready to see you now." Olivia Reed stood still, feeling the weight of every gaze in the waiting room fixated on her dirt-streaked figure. She could hear the hushed murmurs and barely contained giggles from the impeccably attired contenders surrounding her. Is that her? That's the designer of the outdoor spaces. Is this a prank of some sort? She squared her shoulders and gripped her portfolio more firmly, the dried mud on her white blouse fracturing slightly with the motion. The impeccably styled receptionist assessed her from head to toe, a hint of disdain barely hidden in her gaze. The woman stated in a matter-of-fact tone, "Fourth floor boardroom, though you might consider freshening up first?" "No time," Olivia replied, moving toward the elevator. "I find myself running behind schedule." As the elevator doors slid shut, she glimpsed her reflection in the gleaming metal. Her golden locks tumbled from the once tidy ponytail, while splashes of mud adorned not only her crisp white blouse but also her cheeks. The retrieval of the golden retriever from the construction ditch turned out to be far more complex than she had expected. The doors swung wide, revealing a grand boardroom that commanded attention. 8 individuals clad in luxurious suits gathered around an imposing table, with Jackson Montgomery presiding at the helm. Olivia had come across his image in various business publications, yet none truly conveyed the piercing intensity of his blue eyes or the defined contour of his jaw, which now tightened noticeably at the sight of her. "Ms. Reed?" he inquired, a brow arched in curiosity. A woman with a sleek black bob, positioned to his right, leaned in closer. "It's evident that she's in a state of confusion. She can be accompanied by security." "No," Olivia interjected, moving ahead with determination. "My name is Olivia Reed. I regret how I look. On my way here, I encountered a situation where a dog was caught in a construction ditch." A soft chuckle danced through the air in the room. The woman sporting a bob, identified by her nameplate as Victoria Price, VP of Design, expressed her exasperation with a dramatic eye roll. "How delightful," Victoria remarked. "It might be beneficial to consider arriving punctually and in suitable attire for a professional interview next time." Jackson Montgomery raised his hand, bringing a hush over Victoria. "You saved a dog?" "Absolutely. A radiant golden retriever. He found himself ensnared in a murky ditch at the latest construction site on Willow Street. Leaving him there was not an option for me." A fleeting expression crossed Jackson's face. Astonishment, maybe even endorsement. "Since you're here, why not share your portfolio with us?" he said, motioning to the seat opposite him. For the next 20 minutes, Olivia immersed herself in her vision, passionately articulating the importance of integrating green spaces into urban developments, momentarily casting aside thoughts of the mud beneath her feet. Even with the rare patronizing remark from Victoria, Jackson appeared truly engaged, posing insightful inquiries regarding sustainability and its effects on the community. As she concluded, an eerie hush enveloped the room. "Thank you, Ms. Reed," Jackson expressed with a sense of formality. "We will reach out soon." Olivia nodded, a blend of pride in her presentation and a twinge of embarrassment about her appearance washing over her. With her materials in hand, she made her way to the door. "Just a moment," Jackson called after her. She glanced over her shoulder. "What color was the dog you rescued?" "Shimmering, adorned with a blue collar featuring a silver tag crafted in the form of a sailboat." Jackson shared a glance with his assistant, who responded with a nod. "Ms. Reed, that was my canine companion, Scout. He made his getaway while I was on site this morning. I just received a message from my driver indicating that someone has brought him back to the site office." The atmosphere grew still. "You're saying—" Victoria began, her voice laced with incredulity. "I'm saying," Jackson continued, rising to his feet, "that while the rest of you were showing up in your immaculate suits with your flawless portfolios, Ms. Reed was plunging into a mud pit to rescue my dog." He circled the table to position himself in front of Olivia. "I've listened to plenty of proposals today regarding enhancing profit margins and the allure of luxury. You're the sole voice addressing the impact of spaces on people's lives, focusing on sustainability and the importance of community access to green areas." He reached out his hand. "If you desire it, the position is yours." Olivia gazed at his extended hand, then glanced down at her own hand, caked in mud. Perhaps you should think twice about that handshake, she remarked with a subtle smile. Jackson chuckled and grasped her hand regardless, mud and all. Greetings, Ms. Reed, and welcome to Montgomery Estates. I believe you're about to bring some exciting changes to this place. Victoria's expression shifted to one of intense anger, while the board members cast worried looks at one another. Yet Olivia hardly paid them any mind. For the first time since her arrival at Montgomery Tower, caked in mud, she experienced a sense of belonging. You can't be serious, Jackson. Eleanor Montgomery's voice sliced through the atmosphere of his corner office. The girl from the mud. Is that really who you're appointing to lead our flagship project? Jackson lifted his gaze from the array of designs laid out before him. Her name is Olivia Reed, dear mother. Indeed, I am. She's the most impressive landscape architect I've encountered in years. Eleanor fiddled with her pearl necklace, a familiar gesture of anxiety that Jackson had known for as long as he could recall. My dear, Victoria Price hails from a family deeply entrenched in the world of real estate. Her father collaborates with me on 3 boards. That position was meant for her. Victoria will also be involved in the project, though she won't be in the lead role. Eleanor continued, expressing the board's concerns. Riverside Heights is an upscale development, not merely a community garden project. The world is evolving. Opulence doesn't necessarily equate to excess. Jackson indicated towards the designs. Olivia's concepts for sustainable integration will position us at the forefront. A sudden knock at the door broke the silence. Olivia stood in the doorway, her appearance a striking contrast to the mud-covered figure she had been just 3 days prior. Her blonde hair was neatly pulled back, and she donned a simple green blouse paired with black pants. Professional yet far from the designer labels that adorned the Montgomery Estates offices. Apologies for the interruption, she remarked, observing the icy look on Eleanor's face. I can return at a later time. It's unnecessary, Eleanor replied, her smile strained. I was just about to head out. I eagerly anticipate your vision for transforming our company's strategy. The unmistakable sarcasm in her voice lingered in the air as she brushed past Olivia. Jackson let out a weary breath. My mother can be a bit overzealous when it comes to the business. I understand, Olivia replied, setting her portfolio down on his desk. It's a family legacy, often feeling more like a weight than a gift, he murmured. Are you prepared for your inaugural day? Prepared to the fullest extent possible. While I believe I favored the mud over the glances I've been receiving all morning. Jackson chuckled. Your impact was notable, though it isn't necessarily a negative thing. He guided her along the polished hallways of Montgomery Tower to a conference room with glass walls, where the Riverside Heights team was assembling. Victoria was already present, exuding elegance in a cream suit, her dark bob shining under the soft glow of the recessed lighting. Olivia, you're familiar with Victoria Price, our design VP, and this is Marcus Washington, our legal counsel and my oldest friend. A towering figure with a friendly grin extended his hand to Olivia. Text, the renowned mud girl, he remarked with a playful glint in his eye. It's refreshing to see some new faces in the mix. Victoria's smile lacked warmth, failing to illuminate her eyes. Let's wish that the enthusiasm you've introduced doesn't tarnish our standing. Olivia responded with a calm assurance. I like to view it as enriching barren soil with essential elements. Occasionally, that's the very place where the finest things flourish. Jackson held back a grin as he guided everyone to their places. Let's concentrate on the task at hand. Riverside Heights stands poised to become our most groundbreaking project to date. For the next hour, they meticulously examined the current designs, showcasing an abundance of glass, steel, and opulent features. When Olivia finally found her voice, it was resolute, even though she was still new to the scene. These designs are stunning, yet they lack an essential aspect, a connection to the surrounding community. This region boasts a rich tapestry of inhabitants who are in urgent need of green spaces. An opportunity awaits us to craft something that caters to both high-end clients and the wider community. Victoria let out a derisive laugh. Our clients invest in unique offerings, not in communal spaces where anyone can roam freely. Olivia argued that studies indicate integrated developments genuinely enhance property values. Consumers are progressively seeking sustainability and social responsibility in addition to luxury. Jackson interjected, affirming Ms. Reed's point. The market is evolving, and we must evolve alongside it. As noon approached, the atmosphere in the room grew thick with unease. During the lunch break, Jackson caught snippets of Victoria's conversation with a few team members. There's no need to fret over the Mud Girls concepts. Jackson is merely being generous. Once Eleanor and the board review the cost projections for all this green space, it will undoubtedly be dismissed. Later that afternoon, Olivia sat in her new office, feeling a wave of uncertainty wash over her, as she questioned whether accepting this position had been a grave error. A gentle knock on her door unveiled Jackson, cradling 2 steaming cups of coffee. He placed one on her desk, saying he thought she might need it. The initial days can often be quite challenging. Is it perpetually this ruthless? Jackson settled into the chair opposite her. Victoria was assured of your role. My mother nurtures these relationships as if they were cherished blooms. So what makes me the right choice for this role? This company requires an individual who envisions more than just the upcoming luxury condo development. This business was established by my father, driven by a commitment to quality and a clear vision. At some point, we veered off from the essence of our vision. Olivia observed him closely, noticing an unexpected quality in the millionaire air, perhaps a hint of sincerity, or even a spark of passion. The board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, he continued. Your proposals are about to face intense scrutiny. Are you prepared for that? Olivia inhaled deeply. In a moment of tension, I stood before a group of doubtful city officials, presenting my vision for a community garden, all while a protest against development unfolded just outside the doors. I can manage a handful of board members. Jackson beamed, a true smile lighting up his face. I have faith in your abilities. He rose to depart, yet hesitated at the threshold. Just to clarify, my decision to hire you wasn't motivated by generosity. I acted out of self-interest. I aspire for Montgomery Estates to reach its fullest potential. And to achieve that, we must embrace innovative concepts, no matter how messy they may appear at first. Once he departed, Olivia gazed out the window, taking in the view of the city. Somewhere below lay the community she had been engaging with, the neighborhood that stood to gain from Riverside Heights evolving into something beyond merely another exclusive enclave. She flipped open her laptop and started refining her presentation for the following day. This time, her mission would transcend merely saving a dog from a ditch. She would be striving to save a whole community from being ignored. And somehow, she had a feeling that Jackson Montgomery could emerge as an unforeseen ally in that struggle. 3 weeks into the project, Olivia discovered she was burning the midnight oil once more. The gentle light from her desk lamp cast a warm glow over the intricate designs for Riverside Heights. The board had hesitantly sanctioned a revised iteration of her proposal, opting for 1 community garden instead of 3. Only sustainable materials proved to be cost-effective, along with green spaces that were semi-private instead of entirely public. It may not have been all she dreamed of, yet it marked the beginning of something new. A knock at her door unveiled Jackson, his tie askew and sleeves casually rolled up. "You're still here," he remarked, propping himself against the doorframe. Nearly 9 o'clock. She pointed to his disheveled appearance, a smirk playing on her lips. Challenging day? Discussion with stakeholders over the phone. They feel apprehensive about the transformations happening in Riverside Heights. He inched nearer to scrutinize her creations. Are these the updated plans for the community garden? Indeed, I've been working to make the most of the space we've been given. Their shoulders almost brushed against each other as they leaned over the sketches. Olivia became acutely aware of his cologne, a scent that was both luxurious and understated. Unexpectedly, Jackson remarked that his father would have liked you. What's the reason for that? He held the conviction that progress ought to uplift communities rather than merely siphon resources from them. Jackson's voice took on a gentler tone. The final project he managed before his passing encompassed affordable housing units. 6 months after the funeral, Mother transformed them into luxury condos. Olivia came to the understanding that this was the reason Eleanor held a dislike for her. Jackson nodded, noting that I remind her of him. She believes it is her responsibility to steer the company towards success, focusing on achieving the highest profits while minimizing risks. What are your thoughts on this? His cerulean gaze locked onto hers. In my view, legacy encompasses much more than just financial outcomes. The silence lingered between them until Jackson finally cleared his throat and took a step back. Have you had a meal? I'm absolutely famished. 20 minutes later, they found themselves in a quaint Italian restaurant a few blocks away from Montgomery Tower. As they savored the pasta and wine, their dialogue gracefully transitioned from professional matters to more intimate subjects. So, you spent your childhood in Westbrook, Jackson remarked, pouring more into her glass. That is the location for the construction of Riverside Heights. Exactly that. Before the recession struck, my dad ran a modest landscaping business in that area. Olivia elegantly twirled the pasta around her fork, a graceful dance of culinary delight. At the age of 16, we experienced a profound loss that changed everything. The bank seized our home, and my father never truly bounced back from it. I apologize. That's the reason I chose to pursue a career in landscape architecture. I aim to design environments that are inclusive for all, rather than exclusive to those with wealth. What about your father? He left us last year due to a heart attack. She took a deep breath. He missed witnessing my graduation and the launch of my community garden project. Is that the garden where you lend your time and effort? Olivia gave a subtle nod. It lies at the boundary of Westbrook. We are guiding local children in the art of cultivating food and embracing eco-friendly practices. I'd like to see it sometime, Jackson said, catching her off guard. Is that so? It doesn't quite meet the standards of Montgomery Estates. Perhaps that explains my curiosity. His smile radiated warmth. Additionally, it's important to ensure that you're not engaging in any more muddy dog wrestling matches. The following morning, Victoria found Olivia in the break room. Snuggling up to the superior, her voice was a sweet yet dangerous allure. It seems you both were seen at Marcello's last night. The project was the topic of our discussion. Certainly, Victoria smirked, just as you were having that conversation about the project when you both departed at midnight the previous night. I'm unsure of what you're suggesting. I am not suggesting anything. I am presenting the truth. You showed up all dirty and somehow snagged the position I've dedicated 5 years to achieving. Now you're enjoying intimate dinners with Jackson Montgomery. Victoria moved in closer. Whispers are circulating, Olivia. There are inquiries about what additional services you provide apart from landscape designs. Olivia's cheeks flushed with warmth. My creations convey their own message. Is that so? The construction foreman indicated that he needs to revise multiple plans due to your last-minute alterations. That requires financial investment. This company would only spend money when absolutely necessary. Just as Olivia was about to reply, Marcus Washington made his entrance. Victoria's attitude immediately transformed into a polished cordiality. Victoria, Olivia, he acknowledged with a nod. Is everything okay? Just a little girl talk, Victoria said with a charming smile before she left the room. Marcus lifted an eyebrow in curiosity. Is she causing you some trouble? Nothing I can't manage, Olivia responded, though her hands trembled a bit as she filled her cup with coffee. Marcus explained that Victoria's father and Eleanor share a long-standing friendship. It seems she anticipated leading this project, from what I've gathered. Just keep an eye out, Marcus suggested, and perhaps exercise caution with those late dinners with Jackson. Not due to any flaws on their part, but rather because in this organization, how things are perceived shapes the truth. Later that week, Jackson unexpectedly appeared at her community garden, catching her off guard. The children flocked to him at once, intrigued by the man in fancy shoes who stood uncomfortably amidst their vegetables. Mr. Montgomery? Olivia exclaimed, wiping the dirt from her hands. What brings you here? I mentioned that I was eager to see your project. He surveyed the flourishing garden beds, bustling with a dozen children engaged in their tasks. This is remarkable. A tiny girl pulled at his sleeve. Would you like to take a look at my tomatoes? I nurtured them from seeds. To Olivia's astonishment, Jackson lowered himself to the ground, even in his impeccably fitted suit. I would be delighted to take the initiative. For the next hour, Jackson wandered through the garden, absorbing the children's earnest explanations of their plants with a sense of wonder. He posed insightful inquiries and even assisted a young boy in supporting a flourishing bean plant. As they strolled back to his car afterward, Jackson appeared transformed, more at ease, more authentic. I appreciate your presence, Olivia remarked. I appreciate you taking the time to share that with me. He lingered beside his vehicle. This is what you're striving for, isn't it? More than mere green spaces, these are venues for human connection. Absolutely, that's it. Jackson cast a glance over his shoulder at the garden, where the children continued their diligent efforts. My life has been a journey through boardrooms and opulent high-rises. At times, I lose sight of the bustling city beyond my immediate surroundings. He glanced in her direction. Could you please share additional details with me? The area surrounding Riverside Heights. I've reviewed the demographic reports, yet that doesn't equate to truly grasping the essence of the community. Olivia felt a stirring within her at the genuine tone of his voice. She expressed her willingness with sincerity, and it was genuine. As they navigated through Westbrook, Olivia highlighted the local landmarks and the obstacles faced by the community. Unbeknownst to them, Eleanor Montgomery's car sat quietly across from the garden, her keen eyes observing their departure with a shrewd intensity. Ms. Reed, I appreciate you taking the time to meet for lunch, Eleanor Montgomery said, her smile lacking genuine warmth. The elegant dining establishment she had selected boasted pristine white tablecloths and sparkling crystal glassware, a stark contrast to Olivia's typical desk lunch of a simple sandwich. Olivia confessed her surprise at the invitation, her fingers fidgeting with the napkin in her lap. I believed it was the right moment for us to become acquainted. Eleanor beckoned the waiter over. You've certainly been dedicating a significant amount of time to my son. Once their orders were placed, Eleanor immediately cut to the chase. I've gathered some information about you, Olivia. Your father's landscaping venture met a rather dramatic end during the economic downturn. Wasn't it bankruptcy? Indeed, those student loans can weigh heavily on one's shoulders. Olivia tensed at the thought of the costs associated with architecture school. My financial circumstances are confidential. There is no confidentiality when it comes to Montgomery Estates. Eleanor's tone stayed warm, yet her gaze turned steely. My husband created this company from the ground up. Upon his passing, he entrusted me with the responsibility of safeguarding it and Jackson. I appreciate your perspective, Mrs. Montgomery, but if I may, Eleanor interjected, allow me to complete my thought. With a graceful motion, she delved into her chic handbag and produced an envelope, elegantly gliding it across the table. I am ready to present you with a substantial amount to step down from your role and seek opportunities in a different direction, ideally away from my son. Olivia gazed intently at the envelope. Are you trying to persuade me to leave? I present to you a solution. The concepts you've proposed for Riverside Heights seem unfeasible and costly. The board endures their presence solely due to Jackson's insistence, yet this fascination is bound to fade away. Infatuation washed over Olivia, a warm flush creeping up to her cheeks. My dear, you can't possibly believe that. Eleanor chuckled gently. Jackson has always felt a deep connection to projects, individuals he can save. Initially, it was your creative designs, followed by your vibrant community garden, and now it seems to be you taking center stage. Yet, the men of Montgomery consistently choose to wed among their own. I have no desire to marry your son, Mrs. Montgomery. I have a strong interest in my work, a role for which you seem ill-suited. Victoria Price possesses a vast network within the industry. You carry the weight of mud stains and student debt, Eleanor remarked, tapping the envelope. Enough to pay off those loans and start your own small firm, perhaps. Olivia stood, her chair scraping against the floor. Keep your money. My contributions at Montgomery Estate speak for themselves. Just to clarify, your son is not the one saving me. We are creating something significant as a team. Eleanor's demeanor shifted to one of steely resolve. Exercise caution, Ms. Reed. The descent from that lofty position he's placed you in will be excruciating. Back at the office, Olivia immersed herself in her tasks, attempting to dispel the memory of her meeting with Eleanor. At approximately 7, Jackson stood in her doorway, cradling 2 cups of coffee. You seem to be in need of this, he remarked, setting one down on her desk. Challenging day? She took the coffee, her gaze averted from his. One might argue that. Would you like to discuss it? Not quite. She paused for a moment, then inquired, What made you choose me, Jackson? Was it merely because I rescued your dog? He appeared taken aback. The dog caught my attention, but it was your vision that led me to bring you on board. What prompts this question at this moment? Just a remark your mother made during lunch today. Jackson's demeanor grew somber. Did she catch you off guard? I ought to have given you a heads up. She has been on a rampage ever since the board gave the green light to your community garden project. She proposed a sum to encourage my departure. What did she say? Jackson's voice escalated abruptly. I can hardly fathom that she would, he paused. Indeed, I am capable of that. I apologize, Olivia. I take responsibility for this. I apologize, Olivia. How is it your responsibility that your mother attempted to bribe me? She notices the amount of time we've been sharing. He swept his fingers through his hair. She has a deep-seated fear of opportunists. My previous relationship concluded because the woman seemed more captivated by the Montgomery name than by who I truly am. I'm not interested in either, Olivia replied hastily, perhaps a bit too hastily. A fleeting expression crossed Jackson's face. Indeed, he glanced at his watch. Regarding the Montgomery name, I have a request to make. A charity gala is set to take place tomorrow evening, focusing on urban development. Prominent investors for Riverside Heights are expected to attend. Would you join me as my date? In a professional context, Olivia paused, Eleanor's caution resonating within her thoughts. She finally admitted that she didn't have anything suitable for a gala. I'm here to assist with that. The following evening, Olivia gazed at her reflection in the mirror. The midnight blue gown that Jackson had sent to her apartment draped flawlessly, enhancing the brilliance of her blue eyes. The stylist he had arranged expertly gathered her blonde hair into a sophisticated updo. For once, she was completely pristine. As Jackson pulled up to collect her, the look on his face sent her heart racing. He paused, his gaze drifting as he sought the right words. Neat, she suggested with a gentle smile. Beautiful, he amended, although I was becoming accustomed to the muck. The ballroom of the Grand Hotel exuded an aura of opulence and exclusivity. Olivia sensed the weight of gazes upon her as they stepped inside, Jackson's hand resting gently at the small of her back. Calm yourself, he murmured. Share your thoughts on Riverside Heights just as you do when we chat about it. They will be persuaded, and to my astonishment, they were. As the night unfolded, Jackson presented her to one investor after another. With every instance, Olivia's authentic enthusiasm for the project radiated brightly. As dinner was served, a number of influential figures had shown enthusiasm for the groundbreaking strategy in the development process. You've got a real talent for this, Jackson remarked as they stepped onto the dance floor. They hold deep affection for you. They are drawn to the notion of aligning with something forward-thinking while conveniently maintaining their profit margins, she replied. Yet, there was a smile on her face. As they moved to the rhythm, Olivia felt his hand resting on her waist more acutely. The subtle fragrance of his cologne lingered in the air, while his gaze continually sought hers. Olivia, he murmured gently, there's something I've been meaning to share with you. Ah, Jackson, finally. There you are. Victoria emerged next to them, draped in a breathtaking red gown, her smile sharp and cunning. Apologies for breaking your rhythm, but I must have a word with you. There's an urgent matter regarding Riverside Heights. Jackson scowled. Is it possible to postpone this? I regret to say that's not the case. Victoria raised her phone high. I have come across some troubling information. It might be best to have a private conversation about this. Jackson paused, his gaze fixed on Olivia. Proceed, she instructed. A break would be quite welcome at this point. As Jackson trailed behind Victoria, Olivia headed toward the bar. A few moments later, he came back, his expression stormy. We must have a conversation, he murmured, leading her to a secluded spot in the ballroom. Victoria just revealed these to me. He extended his phone towards her. Displayed on the screen were visuals of Riverside Heights designs, her creations, paired with an email thread that suggested Olivia was proposing to sell exclusive plans to Barrett Construction, the largest rival of Montgomery. These are not real, she exclaimed in disbelief. Jackson, that's simply not something I would do. The origin was traced back to your email account. It seems that someone might have compromised it, or perhaps she hesitated, noticing the uncertainty reflected in his gaze. It seems you have doubts about my words. He expressed his desire, stating, I want to. Yet, my father faced treachery from his most trusted companion. It almost brought the company to its knees. This cannot simply be overlooked. So a single moment of uncertainty and you're prepared to think I'm what? A corporate infiltrator? I never stated that. You really didn't need to. Olivia sensed the tears welling up, yet she steadfastly held them back. I believed you stood apart from all the others. I acknowledge my mistake. She pivoted and strode away, her dignity preserved, even as her heart shattered. She heard Jackson calling her name from behind, yet she chose not to turn around. The following morning, an email was there for her. She was being moved to a lesser landscaping position on another project. Victoria was set to assume control of Riverside Heights. The dream had come to an end just like that. In the weeks that followed the gala mishap, Olivia immersed herself in her community garden. The repetitive chore of uprooting weeds and turning the earth provided a welcome distraction from the sting of her demotion and the pain that surfaced at the mere thought of Jackson. A voice remarked, You're really doing a number on those carrots. Olivia glanced up to find Marcus Washington at the garden's edge, his tailored suit contrasting sharply with the natural surroundings. Those are weeds, not carrots, she said, settling back on her heels. What brings you here? In search of you, truly. He navigated cautiously through the lines. Your silence has been noted. My calls remain unanswered. I've been occupied with experiencing a decline in my position and witnessing the unraveling of my reputation. Marcus knelt next to her. That's the reason for my presence. The emails that Victoria presented to Jackson are forgeries. Convincing ones, but unmistakably altered. Olivia's hands came to a halt. What gives you that certainty? Due to my ongoing inquiries. The metadata is completely inaccurate, and upon tracing the IP address, it pointed back to a computer within Victoria's department. Marcus spoke in a hushed tone. However, this is where things take a fascinating turn. A fraudulent account was established utilizing Eleanor Montgomery's private network. Eleanor and Victoria are collaborating closely. Seems that way. Victoria secures your position. Eleanor successfully distances you from her son. A mutually beneficial outcome. Olivia removed her gardening gloves, her thoughts swirling. Is Jackson aware? Not at this moment. I wish to have a conversation with you initially. What motivates you to assist me? You've been acquainted with the Montgomerys for as long as you can remember. Marcus offered a wry smile. Knowing Jackson's father, I realized that the events unfolding at Montgomery Estates would shatter his heart. Moreover, he paused. I've noticed the way Jackson gazes at you. It's been ages since I've witnessed him so full of life. That evening, Olivia opened an email that sent her heart racing with excitement about a job offer. The global eco-friendly design studio she had always aspired to join prior to her time at Montgomery Estates. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a moment to create sustainable environments across the globe. It was also thousands of miles away from Jackson and the chaos he had created in her career and heart. Just as she was beginning to grasp the implications of the offer, her phone interrupted with a ring. Unidentified caller. Greetings? Is that you, Olivia? Jackson's voice carried a hint of tension. It's time for a conversation. I find myself at a loss for words in our conversation. I kindly ask you to listen to my perspective. Marcus revealed all the details regarding the forged emails concerning my mother and Victoria's participation. His voice wavered just a bit. I admit my mistake. I ought to have placed my trust in you. A heavy silence lingered in the air between them. Where might you be? At last she inquired. Just beyond the threshold of your dwelling. Moments later, she swung her door open to reveal Jackson, appearing more unkempt than she had ever witnessed before. His tie hung loosely, and his hair looked as though he had been running his fingers through it over and over. You really shouldn't have doubted me, she said, keeping the door firmly closed to him. I understand. He locked eyes with her unwaveringly. I allowed past anxieties to obscure my clarity of thought. My father's closest companion betrayed us by selling company secrets, nearly driving us to bankruptcy, and it has left lasting scars. That does not justify what occurred. Absolutely not. Jackson inhaled deeply. I faced my mother. Things took a turn for the worse. She confessed to it all. The illicit payment, the forged correspondence, everything about it. She claimed she was safeguarding me from a potential error. What was it that you mentioned? I expressed to her that the sole error I committed was allowing her to dictate my life and the company for an extended period. His gaze burned with intensity now. I have reorganized the board, revoked her voting privileges, and terminated Victoria's employment. Olivia rested her back against the doorframe. There was no need for you to take that action. Indeed, I accomplished that, both for the organization and for my own benefit. He moved in closer. However, my focus isn't on the company. I want to discuss our relationship. There is no connection between us, Jackson. It's possible. Today, she announced with a suddenness that I received a job offer. Sustainable global design. The position I aspired to before our paths crossed. Jackson's expression dimmed, yet he acquiesced with a nod. It would be wise to accept it. You've earned this after all that you've been through. His genuine support, free from any trace of manipulation, resonated deeply within her. I'm still weighing my options. When is it necessary to do so? 14 days. In that case, I have a fortnight to reveal the potential of Riverside Heights and the possibilities we can create together. A subtle smile graced his lips. Could you please think about that before you go? In spite of her reservations, Olivia sensed a flicker of hope awakening within her. I will consider it. In the following 10 days, Jackson delivered her updated designs for Riverside Heights. He had woven together all her original concepts and infused them with fresh insights. Budget-friendly housing options blended with upscale condominiums, enhanced community gardens, and eco-friendly materials incorporated throughout. The adjustments may impact profit margins, yet they would pave the way for something groundbreaking. They gathered at coffee shops and construction sites, maintaining a polished demeanor, yet beneath the surface, there was a hint of something profound that neither was prepared to acknowledge. Jackson inquired about her community garden and genuinely absorbed the responses. He participated in local gatherings in Westbrook, absorbing the community's worries about gentrification directly. On the 11th day, Jackson reached out with surprising news. My mother's stepping down, he stated bluntly. She is moving to Florida for her retirement. What influenced her decision? Observing the feedback from investors regarding the updated Riverside Heights proposals. It appears that your perspective is quite profitable, he paused. It seems she has come to the understanding that not everything and everyone can be controlled. How unexpected. She even requested that I convey her apologies to you, although I seriously doubt she will ever express it directly to you. Olivia chuckled, taken aback by her own reaction. Certain aspects remain constant. Some things certainly do, Jackson responded gently. 3 days prior to her deadline for accepting the international position, Jackson sent her a text. Let's rendezvous at Riverside Heights tomorrow morning. A final site visit before making your decision. Upon her arrival the following day, the construction site thrummed with vibrant energy and movement. Jackson stood there, dressed in jeans and a work shirt, a look she had never encountered on him before. What is happening here? She inquired, pointing to the altered site plan markers and the cluster of children from her community garden as they planted trees along the edge. This, Jackson remarked as he took her hand, is the outcome when you cease resisting the mud and begin to create with it instead. He guided her through the site, illustrating the thoughtful adjustments made to the layout to protect the mature trees, the expansion of the community garden space, and the strategic placement of affordable units to maximize the views. These modifications will incur millions in additional costs, she stated. Every cent was justified as he grasped her hand tightly. I have one final thing to share with you. At the heart of the development, where upscale shopping had previously been envisioned, lay a vast expanse of greenery. A sign had been put up, marking Olivia's garden as a communal haven. Did you really do this for me? She murmured. For you, for the collective, for the organization, for everyone involved. Jackson pivoted to meet her gaze. I was raised with the belief that true achievement involved creating barriers between oneself and the outside world. You demonstrated that true achievement lies in creating connections instead. Before she had the chance to reply, a well-known golden blur raced toward them. Scout, the loyal companion of Jackson. Children from her community garden dashed behind him, their laughter ringing out as they pursued the dog. Jackson explained how they've been guiding him in the art of urban gardening, while Scout circled them with enthusiasm. I still have a lot to learn. Countless years spent confined to a desk. You've been engaging with the children. Since when has this been the case? Ever since I came to understand that I could potentially lose you to that overseas opportunity. I sought to grasp what holds significance for you. His demeanor shifted to one of gravity. I understand that your decision needs to be made shortly. Olivia observed the children as they engaged in planting, their enthusiasm palpable, while Scout dashed playfully among the professional landscapers. She contemplated the opportunity abroad, thrilling yet alone. Then she gazed at Jackson, his clothes caked in mud from planting trees, more authentic than she had ever perceived him. I've already done that, she replied softly. I declined it yesterday. A glimmer of hope illuminated his expression. What is the reason? Sometimes you stumble upon a dream you never realized you were seeking. She moved nearer to him. This endeavor, this collective, holds immense significance, and so do you. Jackson's smile radiated with a brilliance she had never witnessed before as he enveloped her in his embrace. Oblivious to the mud, the observing construction workers, or any other distractions. He leaned in, their foreheads gently meeting. How about we create something remarkable together? Olivia beamed. I believe we already are. On the morning of her last site visit to Riverside Heights, Olivia awoke filled with a sense of eager expectation. 3 months had elapsed since the clash with Eleanor, and the project had evolved from a mere luxury development into something genuinely groundbreaking. While she was getting ready, her phone vibrated with a message from Jackson. Let's rendezvous at the east entrance. A delightful surprise awaits. As Olivia approached the construction site, she spotted Jackson leaning against his car, an unusual air of nervousness surrounding him. What's the unexpected twist? She inquired, pressing her lips gently against his cheek. Just wait and see. He grasped her hand, guiding her through the lively scene. As they moved along, the workers exchanged cheerful greetings with one another. She had shed her identity as the Mud Girl outsider and emerged as a valued member of the team. We've achieved remarkable strides, Jackson remarked, as they maneuvered around the construction machinery. The initial phase of residential units is set to be ready for occupancy next month. The community garden areas are all set for the upcoming spring planting season. What about the affordable housing units? Punctual as always. Submissions are already flooding in. His grip on her hand grew firmer. I have something to share with you before the team gets here for the final walkthrough. As they turned the corner, Olivia let out a sharp breath of surprise. Before them loomed a finished structure, distinct from all others in the development. A quaint glass-walled edifice nestled amidst meticulously curated gardens. Within the space, she observed the drawing tables and the creative workspace. What is this all about? She inquired, even though she had her suspicions. Jackson retrieved a key from the depths of his pocket. This can serve as the central hub for Montgomery Reed's sustainable designs, should you choose to make it so. Montgomery Reed. I had an idea about creating a new division dedicated solely to sustainable development. You would take on the role of the creative director. He paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. It would signify a true collaboration, Olivia, in every possible way. The gravity of his words lingered in the air between them. This was more than merely a job offer. Jackson, she began, but he pressed the key into her palm. Before you respond, take a moment for introspection. The interior was a manifestation of her wildest dreams. Cutting-edge design tools, eco-friendly materials, and a vibrant living wall of greenery on one side. However, what genuinely captivated her was the table at the heart of the room, adorned with an array of drawings. Not blueprints, but illustrations of her, tending to the garden, showcasing to investors, sharing laughter with the children in the community. Jackson had sketched them. I had no idea you could draw, she murmured, her fingers grazing the sketches. We have much yet to discover about one another. He stepped closer to her side. These past months collaborating with you have revealed the potential that emerges when one shifts their perspective from the current reality to envisioning the possibilities that lie ahead. Stunning, Jackson, every bit of it. Just say yes, he stated plainly, he remarked. Here's to our collaboration, to our shared journey, and to creating something enduring. Olivia gazed at the man standing in front of her, a stark contrast to the refined executive she had initially encountered. His boots were caked with mud, and calluses adorned his hands from the labor in the community garden. Yet the transformation ran far deeper. He discovered a calling that transcended mere gain, an insight that surpassed the ordinary. And so she had. Indeed, she remarked, extending her hand toward him, embracing everything. His kiss began softly, gradually intensifying with a sense of promise and potential. Beyond the transparent barriers, the vision they were crafting unfolded, a transformation that would redefine the very essence of Montgomery Estates and potentially reshape urban expansion itself. As they finally separated, Jackson leaned his forehead gently against hers. When you strolled into that interview, completely covered in mud, I couldn't help but wonder if you were a genius or just a bit out there. And now I realize you're both, he smiled, and precisely what I was looking for. Later that afternoon, as the entire project team convened for the final walkthrough ahead of the grand opening, Victoria's replacement inquired about the best way to showcase the development's distinctive features to the press. Simply convey the truth, Olivia proposed, that often the strongest foundations emerge from what initially appears to be mere mud. Jackson gently grasped her hand under the table, reminding her that the right person can illuminate opportunities where others perceive only obstacles. As the group scattered, Marcus lingered, a smile playing on his lips as he looked at them both. He would be proud of the project and of you, he told Jackson. I hope so, Jackson responded. It seems he would have appreciated the direction we're taking. Once everyone departed, Olivia and Jackson strolled through the grounds together, adding the finishing touches to their collective dream. Have you ever thought about what might have unfolded if Scout hadn't made it out that day? Olivia inquired, if I hadn't arrived all muddy? Jackson pondered this as they paused at the central garden that would soon carry her name. I like to believe that our paths would have crossed regardless. Some foundations are destined to be established. He drew her near as the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing their shared creation in a warm, golden glow. More than just a development. It was a community, a partnership, a future neither had dared to envision before their paths intertwined. With a grin, Jackson remarked about the mud, prompting Olivia to chuckle. Some things are unforgettable, she mused, to which he responded with a kiss as the day transitioned into evening, their collective vision poised to unfold. The golden autumn sun cast a warm glow over Riverside Heights, where crowds assembled to commemorate the one-year anniversary celebration. Olivia stood at the podium, surveying the diverse audience before her. Residents from both the upscale and budget-friendly housing units, children involved in the community garden program, investors, and city officials. 1 year ago today, she began, we unveiled what many deemed an unattainable vision, a project that harmonized luxury with accessibility, profit with community service, and environmental sustainability with urban expansion. She cast a sidelong look at Jackson, who was observing her with a sense of pride. Today, Riverside Heights exemplifies that when we challenge boundaries, remarkable achievements unfold. The applause resonated with authenticity and fervor. In the front row sat Eleanor Montgomery, freshly returned from Florida for this special occasion. While maintaining a formal demeanor with Olivia, the past year had undeniably mellowed her, particularly in light of the remarkable success of the development and the favorable media coverage Montgomery Estates had garnered. Once the speeches concluded, while guests wandered through the vibrant community gardens and admired the acclaimed buildings, Jackson took a moment to pull Olivia aside. "You were absolutely captivating up there," he remarked, gently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "We were exceptional," she amended. "This has always been a collective vision." They strolled together through Olivia's garden, vibrant with an abundance of vegetables and flowers nurtured by residents of every generation. Scout leaped forward, brimming with energy even at a year older. "It's hard to fathom that a year has passed since we found ourselves here, caked in mud from planting these trees," Jackson reflected, gazing at the saplings that have already flourished remarkably. "The finest mud I have ever come across," Olivia chuckled. They paused at a bench that offered a view of the central plaza, where Montgomery Reed Sustainable Designs had recently inaugurated its third office. Their collaboration had grown well beyond Riverside Heights, with initiatives currently in progress across 3 states. "I have something for you," Jackson said, reaching into his pocket, an anniversary gift. He presented her with a delicate little box. What lay within was not the jewelry she had anticipated, but rather a key. "What is the purpose of this?" she inquired. "Our upcoming endeavor." His eyes gleamed with enthusiasm. "The city has given the green light to our proposal for the old industrial district. We will convert it into a vibrant mixed-use area, featuring affordable housing, business incubators, community facilities, and the largest urban garden system in the state." Olivia's eyes grew large with surprise. "That's massive, Jackson. The budget would undoubtedly justify every cent spent." He clasped her hands within his. "Yet there's something deeper. I had an idea that we might secure one of the residential units for ourselves, a personal space right in the center of what we're creating." The message was unmistakable. For the past year, they had been dividing their time between their individual apartments, skillfully managing the complexities of their personal and professional connection. "Are you suggesting that I should move in with you?" she inquired, a playful smile dancing on her lips. "I'm inviting you to create a home alongside me," he clarified, "just as we've crafted everything else, united." From a short distance, the sound of Marcus's voice reached them, calling out for their attention. "You both should return promptly. The community awards are set to begin shortly." "We'll be right there," Jackson called back, though his gaze remained fixed on Olivia. "What are your thoughts on this?" Olivia surveyed the remarkable achievements of the past year, the flourishing gardens, the vibrant community, and the groundbreaking structures that had already garnered accolades for sustainability. Then she gazed at Jackson, the man who had embraced her even when she was cloaked in mud, who had discovered the ability to look past the surface to the essence of what truly mattered. "I believe," she remarked, adding the key to her key ring, "that this is only the beginning." Upon returning to the festivities, they were approached by a reporter. "Mr. Montgomery, Ms. Reed, could you please take a moment to respond to a question for our feature? What's the key to the triumph of Riverside Heights?" Jackson glanced at Olivia, and a secret smile passed between them before she responded. "Occasionally, the most exquisite creations emerge from the most chaotic starts," she remarked. "One must be prepared to dive in and embrace the messiness of the process." The journalist nodded with approval, scribbling the quote in her notebook. As she strolled away, Jackson leaned in near Olivia's ear. "On the topic of getting a little messy, I was considering that after the celebration, we might check out that new site for the Industrial District project. I've heard that the ground is rather soggy during this season." Olivia chuckled, her heart brimming with joy. "I was beginning to wonder if you would ever bring it up." As they navigated the community they had cultivated, They exchanged warm greetings with residents and mapped out plans for future gardens. Their collective dream flourishing with each passing year and a lifetime of development on the horizon.